What's going on, guys?
Hello.
Hey, amazing duo here. Best of show Chris and Drunken Rico. We are here with episode 9. Hey, listen, kids. Don't drink and drive. All right, listen. We are talking about episode 9 of X-Men 97. We are one episode away from the finale. Mm-hmm. Super excited about this. Like, the end of this episode was right out of the comic book.
Yes.
Like, the comic book that I have graded. Super excited. I think I have a 9.8 on that, which is the X-Men number 25,
yeah,
and the Wolverine number 75.
Yes.
Both comics is pretty much a scene for scene or right out of the show. But before we go all the way there, let's start off. What happened, Rico? Break it down for the peoples.
Well, for the peeps.
For the peeps.
Well, this episode, we're picking sides this episode.
Are we?
There's a lot of backstabbing, there's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of blaming, and a lot of just own your shit.
Listen, when you point a finger, you're pointing 3 back at me, yourself, right? See?
Yeah.
Right back at yourself.
And we get to, as you were saying, Wolverine shines. I think this episode is the most lines he's had thus far.
Yeah.
And a lot of foreshadowing. I rewatched the episode again today. Obviously, it came out last week. And you can tell, well, one, when they do the recap of the X-Men, they use Logan's voice on this time around. And then, there was a lot of just him having some nice one-liners. Like, we're not talking about it. We get to kill. And he's all about...
I've been in a lot of wars, bub.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of wars and literally backstabbing. But once again,
was it backstabbing or was it sidestabbing?
Oh, no, he hit him in the back.
No, that was like the kidney shot.
You sure? And it came through his chest. Yeah.
It was like... Anyway.
That's too long. But it came in the back to the chest. But let's go backwards.
Yeah.
Let's go backwards.
Too far.
Jubilee got a new suit. And it's like a black onesie.
Yeah, like a spandex suit.
Yeah, and I personally
think it's pleather?
No, I think it's like I don't think it's pleather.
No.
Well, maybe.
Look, shiny,
it would be
like
awesome.
Shiny, like
I think it's like the yoga pants, that material.
Oh.
But
it's shiny.
And the purple collar.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think they decided to change that outfit because her previous outfit was too revealing, or if you surf the internet, Jubilee is kind of becoming more of a sex symbol, and it gives a bad message because she is a teenager, and everyone that's following the X-Men are our age now. So why not either have her grow up, which you can't do because the storyline will be all out of whack, or how they did with Rogue, they kind of nerfed her a bit and they made her less sexy, and with Jubilee they're covering her up more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the it's more for like costume change, so that way they have something, because later on we got another costume change with the whole X-Men. They put on their retro outfits. So it's more like, with cartoons it winds up being, what can we this is this variant figure, or we can change it so that way you see different outfits on screen. That way they can make more figures. It's really just a cash grab if you ask me, but whatever.
Yeah, and outside of that, last episode we got Magneto doing an EMP to the world.
Oh yeah,
and shut down everything. All Sentinels were down. He's raving havoc. He's trying to get a team, and it reminds me of the old X-Men movie Last Stand, or was it X-Men 2, when he was out in the woods and he had his own like little colony of people, and I remember Rogue leaving the X-Men in that movie, but not to go back, but she left the X-Men because she just did not want powers anymore. And with Rogue, it was cool where she was going on a rampage, but now, she joined Magneto.
Yeah. Well, she was with Magneto before, and, she was trying to be a good person or, superhero, and trying to, do right with Professor Xavier. And she realized what happened with Gambit really broke her. Yeah. Really, snapped her, and it was like, you know what? I want vengeance for Gambit. I want to, we were trying to live in peace and harmony in Genosha, and she was like, that was it. Magneto was right, and they went to brought down Asteroid M, basically what that was. That's when Professor X was like, you come into my school bringing an asteroid down. What do you expect's going to happen?
Yeah,
like,
right?
You know, knocking down my door with a big old asteroid. Like,
now, the part that's kind of contradicting to me or confusing is Rogue left the X-Men to go with Magneto, just like Sunspot left the X-Men to go with Magneto, because they feel as though the human race
has betrayed him.
But it wasn't the human race. It was the one hybrid. He was born a Sentinel. He was born. They even said in that X-Men, if there was, I think Beast said it, if things was to go a different path, he would have been an X-Men. His mom would not allow. What is his name again?
Bastion?
Sebastian. Yes.
Not Sebastian. Bastion.
Bastion. Yeah, his mom was like, no, I don't want him to join the X-Men.
I'm not ready. This guy. Anyway, yeah. So Bastion, he was a hybrid of Master Mold and Nimrod.
Yeah.
And he was like an ultimate Sentinel. Where later on in the episode, you see him actually hooked up to all the mechanics, all the wires and everything, controlling what was happening, or brought back the power. So that's how the Sentinels were brought back online, because he knocked all the power out. Magneto knocked all the power out, but he was able to bring, with his powers, to bring the Sentinels back online. That's how they were fighting them when they were going towards their base.
So therefore, it's not the human race versus the mutants. It's a mutant versus the mutant. So it's like their theories are all out of whack. The president of that United States is kind of like, I have more important issues to deal with. And then you got, your average civilian that's kind of like mutant lover, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But that's not the main enemy.
FOH, Friends of Humanity.
Yeah.
Right?
That's not the main enemy of this season. The main enemy of this season is another mutant.
Yes and no, because he's really like a Sentinel. He's like hybrids, because he's still human. He has he has flesh and bone and everything.
Yeah.
But he has the components of the Sentinel program. He has that hatred for mutants, and that forward momentum of like, we need to kill all the mutants off, and then because you show in the future it winds up being a utopia, because pretty much everyone has powers in the future. Remember, Cable is showing like, his future is a utopia. Like, everyone has powers, everyone's like equal. So he's kind of like leveling the playing field, but so I'm not sure why he's trying to kill off mutants. Meanwhile, he winds up turning everyone into mutants.
Yeah.
So it's kind of vague, or not really explained so much as far as why he's doing what he's doing, unless you go ahead and read the comics and then you get more backstory. But as far as face value, you're watching the show, it's kind of vague.
And then, what did you dislike about this episode?
What did I dislike?
Before we go any further into the episode.
What did I dislike about the episode? Not too. That the fact that that Cyclops or Scott just let the whole big thing with Xavier, when he came back, he was like, "Okay, you're back," and he's like, "We'll talk about this later." Like, they didn't go into it.
Yeah.
They didn't really go into it. So maybe because they're in the middle, they have to go back to fighting, whatever. But for the sake of the show and forward momentum and trying to push the story along, they didn't talk about it. But I feel like that needs to be flushed out later on. Like, if it was a comic book, you would see a lot more drama. Yeah. Whereas a 30-minute show or 10-episode season, how much conflict are you going to do without having it to be drawn out and be like, okay, well, like that episode when they're on the Shire Empire and they're talking back and forth. And the episode with Storm and Forge, which was a little more on the slower side.
Yeah. But
it's a filler episode for story. It was story driven. So whether or not they go back and flush it out, that's, it's, needless to see. So what about yours?
Well, between this episode and the last episode, two of the same things happen. When a character is really strong, but they suppress their powers to make them weaker for one reason or another. For this episode, Sunspot. Sunspot, to me, is probably would have been one of the strongest mutants in the episode currently, based off of what his power is. And then they have him going up against Jubilee, basically fireworks versus solar flares.
Yeah.
And they were kind of just obsolete. They were kind of just like binging off of each other.
negating each other's powers.
And it's like that's not possible. You know, like he is a human-sized son, and
well, I think it's more like experience versus inexperienced.
Yeah, but then we saw him in later episodes. He basically blew his house down. He burnt his entire house down. That's why his parents sent him off.
Because he had no control over it.
No control, yeah.
So he had no control. Whereas Jubilee has more control. She's been an X-Men for how many years now? So she has more experience in field in battles as opposed to Sunspot, where he's, like you said, blew up the house, but he just blew it up out of control. He didn't mean to blow it up.
Just kind of one of those freak accidents.
Yeah. So,
but then with the last episode, you had Rogue. Yeah, Rogue. Excuse me. She was throwing tanks. She was destroying bunkers. She was on a rampage, and then next thing you know, she's asleep because she's been defeated for an episode and a half, and she just wakes up in this episode, and it's like.
Well, the episode where she fell asleep was because she took on so much power and she got a backlash of the power, so it knocked her out. So her own power, by using her power too much, it knocked her out.
It reminded me of the live action X-Men when Logan was having a nightmare and Rogue came into his bedroom and was like, Logan, wake up, you're having a nightmare. And boom, she got claws right in the gut. And she could have died from that, but instead she touched Logan's face and basically healed herself. And she was able to do that because Logan clearly can heal himself as well.
His mutant power is self-healing.
So that would have been really awesome to show something like that. And the reason why that it reminded me of that is because this episode, Cyclops said to Cable, what were you expecting? Black leather? Which Cyclops and Wolverine had that same exact conversation in that in X-Men #1. And I don't know. There's a lot of things that could have happened that could have shown their powers.
Well, that line it's funny because they said, what are you expecting? Black leather? Meanwhile, in the movies, they said, what are you expecting? Yellow jumpsuits?
Yeah.
Right? So they did the flip.
Yeah.
So which was funny.
That was cool. Outside of that, moving forward with this episode, we lead into the big fight scene.
Yep.
Where we had the retro outfits.
Yeah.
Which Jean Grey's outfit is not battle ready. She has a green dress.
That's the classic Miss Marvel outfit.
Yeah.
They totally went like the classic X-Men arcade
they did.
costume. And then Wolverine had that brown and orange one.
That was awesome.
Right? Which was the toy you actually have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I think I had that toy back in the day with the pop-up claws. We talked about that in an episode.
Claws.
Yeah, we talked about that in our toy episode.
Yes, we did. We did.
That was pretty cool to see, like, those retro outfits. I was like, oh, excited.
One thing I was looking forward to with that episode was Storm. Like, we haven't seen her really go crazy all season. And then she gets her powers back. She gets the classic suit. Her hair is nice and big and white. And then she gets blown out the sky.
Yep.
And it's like, you went through all of that to have that iconic scene of you flying and going with the horses and controlling the weather. And then when you needed to put it towards a fight, you crash and burn.
Well, it's kind of like right up there, just thinking about it is like an Endgame, in the Endgame movie when Miss Marvel, like, you hyped her up to this big, powerful thing, and then Thanos takes the Power Stone, just bop, sends her flying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's the end of that. I was like, well, good chat, guys. All right, good try.
It was an awesome fight between Sinister and Jean Grey. That was a cool fight.
Yeah, the back and forth, his shadow, like... It's kind of hard to pinpoint his powers because his powers keep evolving because he keeps modifying himself for different powers. So it's like what kind of power is he using or what kind of power he has at that moment because he takes and removes power.
He had Shadow Clone Jitsu.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Yes, he did, right?
I'm glad he didn't pull out sexy Jitsu.
For real, the first thing I thought about when he was hiding in Jean's shadow was Naruto.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yo, he's hiding in the shadows. Like, her shadow. That's pretty cool.
Well, same thing like Cloak.
Yeah.
Cloak like hides in the shadow. He goes in and out of
Cloak and
shadows.
Dagger.
Yeah. So
It was really cool that they showed Jean Grey. I feel as though Jean Grey fight scene was the big epic part of the episode because you really don't see her fight. She's never really in a like. Do you recall any time she's in a hand-to-hand combat?
Well, she's normally meant for defense or protection.
Yeah.
She's you have different roles. Like when you're playing a game, you have different roles. You have like the fighter, you have the brawler, you have the mage. You have the white mage.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of like white mage. She's protecting. Putting the bubbles. Moving things out of the way and stuff like that. You got Wolverine, obviously, clearly the brawler.
Yeah.
You got Cyclops. He's the long distance.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone has their own role. And on the team, and that's how they make up such a good team because they all support each other differently. So,
and then we have Morph with a Hulk cameo.
Yeah,
Morph Smash, which I thought was pretty fun.
Right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And you know who we did not see? Who that showed up? We didn't see Nightcrawler, but I know they split in 2 teams. Where was Nightcrawler in all this?
Wasn't he still beat up from Genosha?
No, not Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was with them since the last episode where he was when he pulled Wolverine. And
oh yes.
So yeah, he was. Well, I guess last episode he had his moment, so they were kind of like, all right, let's get someone else to turn.
Right. Yeah.
Which throughout this season, they've been doing really good of giving everyone credit and giving everyone a moment. And I thought that was awesome.
And then you had Cable in there. He got some action shots in there.
Yeah. Oh man, it was Cable versus Jean. I thought Jean was gonna go straight Phoenix mode.
Oh yeah, me too. I was like, I'm not your mom,
man.
But I'll show you power.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna go Phoenix mode, and that was gonna go back into the Phoenix towards the ending because we're about to wrap it up next season. But then, in the midst of all of this fight, we finally make it to Magneto and Professor X. And I feel as though Professor X really needed to hear this. And Professor Magneto finally said it. He goes, "I've been waiting a long time to say this." And he was like, "Shut up, bro!
Right?
Like, stop talking for me.
I got 2 words for you. Shut up!
Stop monologuing. Why are you wasting my time with this?"
Right? That was. I was like,
awesome.
oh,
That was awesome. That was cool.
The only thing that would have made that better if he dropped an F-bomb in there.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be like, shut the fuck up.
That was awesome. And then they finally get the helmet off of him.
Yep.
What happened from there?
Xavier uses his powers to stop him and pretty much trying to shut him down. And then how does he wind up getting the...
Cyclops. After everything Cyclops has done this season.
Oh yeah, he blasted Xavier. It was like
one moment.
He's like, no, don't do that.
For me, it was like you were so cool this whole season. You let your personal feelings get in the way in the heat of battle, and his mobile his chair.
Yeah.
And it's like, for what, bro? For what? Why? And then that's when Magneto put the helmet on Professor X and started crushing it.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, what is about to happen right now?
About to crush his head.
That's what happened right now.
I've
seen a lot of wars, bub.
which is crazy because, Wolverine, like, how many times that Magneto is like, can just take him off. He's the first person he should be able to take out real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, your whole skeleton is made of metal. I can control you. Let me just pin you to a wall. That's it.
Let me just protrude your claws out and use you as a human torpedo.
Or that would have been
talk about imagination, right?
Yeah, but like in X-Men, in the movie where he pins him to the Statue of Liberty and he pushes the claws into his chest.
Yeah.
So he can control him, but he never uses his powers to do that for some reason. Why? I don't know. But then he takes it to the extreme and was like, well, I guess we're just going to take your metal out your body now.
Yeah. And when he did that, you saw all of his veins bulge. And it's like, why is his veins bulging? Like, he doesn't have anti-animal coursing through his veins. It's
in his bones.
It's on his bones.
Yeah.
So...
Not in his bones, on his bones.
Yeah. So, like, I thought it was really cool that we get to see that. I don't want to say live action, but we get to see that in motion. Mm-hmm. They really made sure that they brought comic books to life in this season. And Disney Plus, you guys did it. On this one, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion. You know, but yes, and I think it's really cool because usually DC Comics are really like capitalizing on their
animation.
Yeah, right. And Marvel's kind of like, yeah, no, forget about it. Yeah. This time around, they hit gold.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yo, keep it up! I can't wait to see this last season and season 2. I guess next year.
Yeah, because they are greenlit for season 2 and 3.
So, episode 10
is next week. Oh no, Wednesday.
Yeah, I really hope they don't go back in time. I remember the last couple episodes. I was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna Days of Future Past. It's gonna reset everything. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to. Like, well,
I mean, that's how they reset things.
But like, I want to see Wolverine.
With Berserker Wolverine.
That and
that'd be crazy to see. Remember Berserker Wolverine when he hit all bone claws?
Yeah,
and his face deteriorates. He's like no nose. It's almost like no nose.
Like, I want to see that version of Wolverine, and then Omega Red.
Oh yeah,
like this is I feel as though this second season, just predicting, we're gonna have a big Wolverine episode, and for him to go up against Omega Red or Sabretooth, that's old news.
Yeah,
but Sabretooth because I'm not Omega Red because he can't rejuvenate his healing powers when he fights against Omega Red.
Cancels his powers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that'd be really cool to see more Wolverine, but not Wolverine when he's in his height. Wolverine when he's kind of struggles. And I think that'd make a good story.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm pretty excited to see the next episode and how are they going to wrap it all up. I'm pretty sure they're not going to wrap it up as more like they're going to leave us on cliffhanger for the next season, and that's going to be nail biting. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be at the edge of my seat the whole episode, and I'm going to be like, okay, well, we're season 2, so
yeah. I hope they end it. I don't want them to just leave episode 10 open, because it's that's going to want. Obviously, I'm going to want to wait, but I think it'll be a full-rounded season, first season, to give us a beginning, a middle, and an end. So when we go to the second season, we're not dealing with this year's stuff. We have a whole new conflict. No?
I mean, there's a lot going to happen. A lot has happened in the past 9 episodes.
Yeah.
And to wrap all that up in a half an hour episode, I mean, a lot of times it's hard for them to wrap that up in an hour episode on a live action show.
Yeah, that's true.
Let alone to do it. I mean, they can do it because animation, I feel, is more accessible to wrap things up. Like when you have a cartoon movie, it's more ran through or more put together as opposed to a live action. So it could possibly be done in a half an hour episode. But that'd be cool if they gave us an hour episode. But we're probably not gonna get that. We'll probably get the regular half an hour. But
yeah, well, we never know. We might get like a 56-minute instead of a 48.
Or 45-minute.
Something like that.
That'd be cool, 45 minutes. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So I think we just did a good recap of this episode of X-Men 97.
Episode 9.
Episode 9, and more to come in next week's episode. This is the main man, Chris. I'm Rico. This is Popping Through Culture. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow. And we'll keep you updated with all the Marvel, X-Men, and pretty soon, after we do the recap of the X-Men, we will be starting on the history of the DC comic book universe.
And Marvel Universe.
Yep. We're going to intermingle these things.
We're going to be doing alternating weeks when we post them.
Mm-hmm. And you can find that where?
On Poppin' Through Culture YouTube channel and Spotify.
Spotify.
Yes.
Look for us on Spotify coming up in the next few weeks, maybe by the next month. And catch you guys later. Peace.